From the studios of Watchman Broadcasting on the banks of the Savannah River, it's Club 36 with Dorothy and Russell Spalding. Tonight, uplifting ministry, testimonies, and live music, sharing the gospel to the CSRA and beyond. And now, your host for Club 36, Dorothy and Russell Spalding.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you could join us today because this is a big, busy, full day. And we have very special people in the house today. Well, I have somebody who wrote a book about you.
I know.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Hey, I can't help it.
It's called Dream Chasers.
I was very honored that she would include me, I promise you.
Well, it's a wonderful book. It has all great men and women of God, Heidi Baker and Bill Johnson and just on and on. But it's a book that talks about men and women of God who were just ordinary people, did extraordinary things. And I put you there.
Well, y'all are kind.
Look at
both
you.
Of you.
She has done extraordinary things.
Absolutely.
And what a wonderful thing. So we brought you here, and we also brought, oh, Jesus help me, Uta Schmidt, and she's from the Netherlands, and now back to Germany.
Yes.
And so you're here just for a short time. But I want to know, why did you write this book?
I wrote this book because several years ago, I was hit by a perfect storm in my own life, and I was very confused, and I thought, like, I had missed it. I didn't expect this would happen to me. I didn't envision my life to be that way as it was when I was hit by that storm. And so I had a lot of questions about how does life work, and destiny, and the calling that I have on my life. What about my dreams, how I had envisioned my life? And then I came across a study from Fuller Theological Seminary as I was looking for answers. And that was a study on destiny. They had collected or done case studies for over 30 years. And 80% of the people who participated in that study, after 30 years, concluded that they had not fully walked out their destiny. They didn't feel that they had really fulfilled their life's calling, and only 20% did. And the target group, the participants, were all full-time ministers. And then they looked at what were the difference between the 80% and the 20%. And the difference was that the 80% didn't know how to deal with the contradictions in life, that they got mired in disappointments and setbacks and hardships. And the professor who conducted the study, he wrote a book, and he said that every person that God uses for his purposes will have to go through a refining process and learn how to deal with the contradictions. And then I thought, like, wow, if everybody has gone through this, then I want to know, well, what helped them navigate through this? Obviously, they're doing something that I don't know. And I wanted to know how to bridge the gap between where I was at and where I wanted to be, and experiencing the abundant life that God has promised us.
Well, and I understand that, don't you?
I totally
We've been
understand
through the
that.
refiner's fire.
Yes.
You know,
I think I camped out in it for a while.
from homelessness to look what God does.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, we've all been there. And if you're in there, hey, there's hope. Get this book. This will help
That's
you.
a wonderful book.
Yeah, it'll help you to see that you can come out of that.
Absolutely.
And now you chose these certain people. For example, Pastor Sandra Kennedy.
Yes.
Talk about that.
She ran out of everybody else and needed somebody.
Well, you're at the top of the page.
Well, I mean, they just happened to put me up there.
No, it was supposed to be, because I was really also praying who should be in the book. In the beginning stages, when I came up with the idea of really asking people where we look up to and we think, you know, they have life together. And I wanted to know, how do they do life? And I had a list of people, and I thought, this is the people that I would like to know. How do they do life, and how do they navigate through the contradictions and the painful seasons in their lives? And I wanted to have another woman here. And I knew about Sandra. I had followed her teaching, and a friend of mine suggested, you know, ask Sandra Kennedy. And I did it, and this is how she ended up in a book, and it's an amazing story. a wonderful chapter in the book. And you might know Sandra Kennedy, but you will not know all of the story. And that's why I encourage you to read the book and really get the story behind the story.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sandra.
Well, I mean, I was so honored, in all honesty, and really shocked, to be honest, when you asked me. But you were so kind and easy to talk to. I remember that so much, how much that mattered to me, because she actually came and just spent a great deal of time with me. It wasn't just something she picked up from reading some articles. Mm-hmm. She came and spent a tremendous amount of time with me, and let me walk through things, and I appreciated her. You could tell that she was sincerely sincere, mm-hmm. and that she really wanted to know how certain things happen. Of course, a lot of things, like you would have to say, you have no idea how it happened. I mean, God
Only
just did
God.
it.
Only
God
God
just did it. But I mean, Uta understood that. You know, she understood that, and it ended up being just really a joy talking with you, and I so appreciate it. And you did a great job. I mean, you did, and I appreciate it, and I mean it from the depths of my heart. When the book came out and I saw what you had done with it, I'm extremely honored that you would include me, and I thank you for it.
And I thank you for your openness and transparency. And because not everybody was willing to do the interview and to be that open to talk about their weaknesses and vulnerabilities and the failures even in the process of walking out their destiny. And so I really appreciate that. And I can still remember that you told me that I asked some questions that nobody ever asked you.
Yeah, you did.
And
Okay, what was that?
It's been a long time ago.
No, it was really about what were the most painful things that you experienced. And we often focus on the victory part, on the successes. And so we've developed a little bit of Facebook Christianity. It all sounds and looks amazing all the time. And then we think our lives has to be amazing all the time. But we don't look at the battle that precedes the victory, and we need to look at the battle and the reality of what you encounter, because we need to count the costs when we walk out our destiny and walk with Jesus, and we need to be prepared to face the obstacles and the hardships and the disappointments. And
because they come.
They come. And very often, if we think life has to be perfect all the time, then we think something is wrong with us when it happens. And I think a lot of Christians are in that place when contradictions come and hardships come, they feel something is wrong with me, and they feel ashamed, and they hide behind a mask. And I wanted them to know, man, you're not alone. Yeah. Everybody is going through this, but there is a way through.
This is the way.
Well,
yes,
you know,
absolutely.
This is the way.
One of the things that she's commenting about, she probably found this out with the other people too. I've read the book twice, actually, and not too long ago read it again. Well, actually, I've read it more than that. I think I read it in the previous stages, and so I've read it more than that. But one of the things that when I said to her, she asked questions. You know, Dorothy, most people, even if you've known them an extremely long time, they don't really ask pertinent questions. Right. To get answers that could really change their lives.
Yes.
I mean, the answers that, because people who've walked in places, you know, we're very young, but not as young as we used to be. And we'd be dumb if we hadn't learned something along the way here somewhere.
Yes.
And so you have a lot of things to learn, and the Bible's very clear, and I'm not trying to push anything, but the Bible's very clear about paying attention to your elders.
Yes.
I mean, it's really clear about learning from them and honoring them and what you can pick up for those. I mean, and that's a thing that I've always tried to do. But I was, you might say, what does that have to do with her question? Because she asked questions that brought out things that would help somebody's life. And that's what is in the book, things that really could help
other people.
Other people. And again, most people just talk about fluff, or they think they know the story and they don't know the story at all.
When
you know,
when we come back, we're going to go to a song, and when we come back, I want to talk. Just I know a little bit of this right here, breaking through fear and rejection, and how that affected you, and some of the hardships she's had to go through as a minister of the gospel. Yes. And we'll talk about that. And also, this book is available to you. You recommend it highly.
Yes.
And it will
because of the other, I mean, she has some wonderful people in there, and they were very open and gave absolutely
Yeah.
wonderful suggestions, and you learn a lot from reading.
Yep,
about
you
them.
do. We've forgotten how to read too much.
Yeah.
We just, everything's got to be now, fast. Get in the book.
Amen. Nothing
Because
like it.
Nothing like getting in a book. I love to go to her place. All around her walls, up in the air, is a bookshelf with books. Everywhere you go are books.
Yes.
And I happen to love books. So
Yeah.
that's a wonderful place to see. Well, we're going to Doreen, and she's singing Amazing Grace. We'll be back. Well, let's get back to the book, because I can take off with that. I love my Bible, don't I?
Amen. Oh, I love my Bible.
I know
yes.
it. And she is such a student of the Word. And I just love being with her.
And you actually see that in all of the people's lives,
That are in
they
here.
embrace the word,
It's the
of
word.
God, and they embrace the promises of God, and they spend time in His presence because they are facing rejection. And once you start stepping into your dream, there will always be people who will talk you out of it. And in order to be able to face that, you need the assurance of God that He is with you and that He will walk you through this.
And He's told you to do it.
Yes.
And Dorothy and I can speak to this better than she can at this moment, because you and I are the same age. So we understand.
Yes.
But
I've never seen the righteous forsaken.
Absolutely, that's right. But one of the things that you and I've talked about recently is the things that I thought I wouldn't have to face again and again. You know, well, I conquered that, praise God. You know, well, that's not so. I mean, the things that as I've gotten older, thank God I know how to handle them a little better. But the truth of the matter is the bombardment of things coming against us. We were talking about that just between the break a minute ago. I'm busier than I've ever been in my life.
Yes.
And my intent is not to be this busy. More stressful things than I've ever had at one time, ever in my life are happening. Yan and all kind of things. You know, all pastors know about that. But I'm just saying. Personally, I think in my mind, I thought, well, okay, you know, at some point this thing calms down.
Yeah.
But it doesn't calm down, particularly because I'm determined to walk out my book.
Yeah.
I'm determined to complete my assignment.
That's it.
And I'm nowhere near through my assignment. And I'm determined, you know, I'm not ready, I'm not retiring by any means. And when you have that mentality, and of course, then a new wave of demonic forces come against you, but they never change. They use a different group of people.
Just different things. Just
Are
different
coming
things.
at different. But you know, the devil hardly ever changes his attacks. But I guess that's not an encouraging word for people who are going to be getting older. But I'm just telling you, you'll be able to deal with it a little differently.
That's also what I've learned from
Yeah.
you, from all the others that they've shared. The challenges, they will not go away.
Yeah, they don't let up.
No.
No.
And so I've been able in my own life accept certain things where I thought, like, I wanted to fix it.
Right.
I wanted it to go.
Right.
And now I've come to a place where I accept it as a given. And I'm just accepting it. That's probably something that I will have to deal with for the rest of my life, but I'm able to deal with it in a better way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you think part of that is, and I know people need to know these things, you
Sure
know,
they do.
to live life.
Yeah.
And don't you think part of it is settling in your mind, Dorothy and Uta? Don't you think that part of that is trying to decide what really is valuable, what really is being able to distinguish what's important and what's not important?
Yes.
Because the enemy will throw all kinds of opportunities your way.
Oh, and they seem great. I mean, they seem
It
absolutely
seemed like,
great.
oh, this is
Yeah,
wonderful,
yeah.
but you can't follow them. You have to.
But I think as I've gotten older and see things, I've made some decisions about this is what I want in my life, and that I'm not going to let it be stolen as easily as it might have been stolen when I was younger.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just not willing, you know, and I can identify the enemy faster than I could earlier. Well, that's a great secret.
Yes.
You know, that's a great secret for all of us. And I think everybody has got to sit back and look at the big picture instead of getting as if what's happening at the moment is really the issue, because it's not.
It's not.
It is not at all what's happening.
Yeah.
What's happening is affecting the big issue.
Yeah,
And you got to see it.
And one of the things that I've identified what all people have in common, because you asked me that question, what do all these people say? And then over the years, I kept thinking about this, and I developed this mentorship program. And the number one thing, the first step, is clarity about the vision, about the direction they should steer their life in.
This is anybody. We're talking
Yes,
about anybody.
anybody. Because if you're confused, if you're not sure, you get sidetracked. And you can face the obstacles and the contradictions and difficulties a lot better when you have your vision in front of you, when you lift up your eyes and you really see the bigger picture, where you want to go. Because very often we just see the problem and the obstacle right in front of us. We don't see the bigger picture, where we actually want to go. And that is what we need to keep in mind. What is the direction that God has for our lives?
You know, I can remember one time, now this is before I was chasing after God, but there was a great memory, because what happened is I built a shopping center, and I had a partner, and we took on another group of people, and they asked us to, that we had to sign this paper today. Well, when we signed it today, I said, I don't feel right about signing it today.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wasn't where I said I would pray about it or nothing like that. I said, I just don't feel right about signing it today.
Right.
And they said, if you don't sign it today, you'll lose everything. And so I told my partner that I didn't want to sign it. And then I allowed the pressure of him telling me, it has to be done today, we'll lose everything. So I went and signed it, and we lost everything. We lost the whole shopping center. We built it, but someone came in and took it over, and we lost it all because we signed it away to them. And this man, you know, with the pressure, and see, people will put pressure on you.
Oh,
yes.
Always. My age now, 70, almost 76 years old. People, when are you going to retire? When are you going to quit? Well, that's not God.
Right.
God doesn't say a word in here about retiring, does he? And so you have to learn that, no, you're going to keep on going, and you make up your mind, you're not going to let that happen. The reason I told you the shopping center thing, don't do things in haste.
Right.
Never.
Man, I've made a lot of mistakes that way.
You'll lose.
And listen to the still small voice in your heart.
In your heart.
Yeah.
And
The
that's
pressure
what he was
from
telling
outside.
you, but it was
Yes.
the pressure.
Yes.
And I fell to the pressure. But I learned a big lesson.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, don't ever, ever fall to pressure. Say, you know what, that's good, I'm going to go back and pray about it.
Do you, did you notice, and after you, that one of the ways that you can identify you're really having problems, of course, again, it took me a long time to understand this, was when I stopped. People don't stop. There's so many people who can't be alone. There was a time in my life that I had trouble being alone, and a lot of people, and now I adore being alone. It is my favorite thing, you know. But when you can't be alone and you're afraid of the loneliness of just by yourself, that is not a good sign.
No.
You know, and because if you cannot be alone, because you're not really alone, you're with the Lord.
Yes.
I'm talking about being alone with the Lord. Some people cannot process the time of just being alone with the Lord. But until you get alone with the Lord, your life will be a circle.
It
Yes.
will.
You will keep going in circles.
Yes, you
and you
will.
won't ever identify it until you get quiet enough to recognize it. You'll keep those circles for years. Years, you just see circles in your life. Things that you do over and over. You do it here, you do it here, you do it here. But it has the same identical little process to it. And you don't recognize it until you get quiet and with the Lord and are willing for the Lord to show you what you're actually doing. You're going nowhere. You're just making a bigger circle.
Yeah, one of the things that I also discovered in all of these leaders, that they make it a priority to schedule in time for contemplation, to be alone, because you need to settle, you need to listen to the voice in your heart, you need to be in tune with your heart and spend time in the presence of God. For instance, Desmond Tutu is like once a month, he always scheduled in 2 days where he would just go on a retreat and be alone with God. That's the only way he could face the pressures of apartheid in South Africa. And you can see that in the lives of all the other people. And that is a very important thing, because if you're not in tune with your heart, then you get confused. You start running around in circles. You let others dictate what you're doing. You give in to the pressures, and That's when
Lose
you
your
end up in.
priorities.
Yes.
Well, I found that if you take every morning, the first part of your morning, you get up, get dressed, and have a meeting with the Lord, and get your Bible out and read, and have Him talk to you, show you what you want Him to talk to you about. Oh, it changed my life. It makes all the difference. When I don't have it, I'm just like, oh, so empty. Well, we're going to go to Cindy. She's going to sing a new song called Brush. I know you'll love it. I want to read something in your book I just saw. This is from Andrew, what was his name?
Andrew White.
Yes, White. Canon Andrew White. He had MS. And here, I just want to read a little bit here. He said, despite all his health challenges, Andrew continues to operate a high level of international leadership. Has he ever wondered why God didn't heal him? Now here's a man with MS, and he isn't healed, but he's going around helping many other people. And so has he ever wondered why God didn't heal him, considering that he has a very difficult task and calling? No, I never thought of it that way. Now that is a huge statement right there. No, I never thought of it that way. Here he has MS, not doing well. People, why aren't you healed? He doesn't even think about that.
I hate when people do that.
Yeah, he just goes forward. Some people said if I had enough faith in God, He would do a miracle and heal me. But the real miracle actually is that I've been able to do everything I need to do. That is one of the stories in here, but there are many of them. And I just love that, don't you?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Because, you know, sometimes we use healing as a crutch. I can't do this because. You know how many times we ask people to come in here and be on the guest? I have to pray about it. You have to pray about being a witness for Jesus? I mean, I get kind of disturbed at people sometimes, you can tell. But anyways, so tell me more stories.
Well, we like to actually mask over sometimes our fears by religious language. And so we say, I need to pray about it. Or we run away and we say, God has called me elsewhere. That is, for instance, the story of William Paul Young. And he exposed, or in his own life, the lies that he was operating from on a subconscious level. Got exposed, and that's his story. Is he's the author of the book The Shack, and his story is a story of real brokenness. He had to face real giants of brokenness, emotional, sexual abuse from his childhood in a religious setting. So he had developed many addictions and coping mechanisms. And he tried to perform and be a good person and try to perform for God. He went to Bible school, he was preaching, but still inside he was not whole.
Broken.
And then actually the whole shack, the wall that he built around himself and the facade he put up came tumbling down when the lies were exposed. And that's where he came to the point where he had to decide, am I still continuing to run away, trying to build up another facade, or am I going to face this and really walk through the pain? And what I learned from him is that the path to really overcoming the pain is going through the pain and facing it. And what we naturally do as human beings, we try to patch it up and run away from it. And sometimes we do that with religious excuses as well. We're not willing to face our fears and really step into our calling and our destiny, because we are called to make a difference, to shape culture. And many of us have excuses. We are, I'm waiting on God.
Oh, yeah.
And Andrew White says, Andrew White says, it's not that we don't have opportunities. Opportunities are there all the time, but we actually need to participate. We need to work with God. Else we're just wasting our time. And what I love about these stories is they contain the wisdom of 707 years of lifetime experience. So we don't have to walk through all of this until we figure it out when we're 60 or 70. They're just packaged in the stories of these amazing people. And it's about applied Christianity, applied spirituality, and how to live it out practically.
I was thinking when you said that, Peter had to get out of the boat, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
If he wouldn't have got out of the boat, he never would have walked
Right,
on water.
right.
And I went to Tulsa. Now, Tulsa is where Hagen is and all the Oral Roberts. And went to one of those Jiffy stores. And this guy said, well, I'm a graduate of Rhema. I said, you're a graduate of Rhema? I said, what are you doing? He says, I'm waiting on the Lord. Well, how many years have you been waiting? 3 years. I said, don't you think it's about time you get out? You can at least go out in the street and start preaching. Do something. And let God, you got to get out of the boat. Start doing something. And if it's not the right thing, God will turn your boat around and tell you which way to go.
And the real reason is why we don't get out of the boat. We want to know up front that everything is going to work out fine. And we don't believe that grace is actually really true. And you can only walk out your destiny if you actually take it a step at a time. You know, I love what Søren Kierkegaard said is life only makes sense backward, but we have to live it forward. And you can only step into your destiny, and actually embracing your destiny means that you step into your dream and trust God that He will meet you on the way. And if you fall, you get up again. And if it's the wrong dream, don't worry, God will show you. But we are so hesitant. We want to know, oh, for sure, is this really God? And is this all going to work out? And of course, we need to seek wisdom in all of this. But there's a point where we have to step out in faith. And that's scary because we like to be in control. And we have to release control and kill that idol of control.
You know, when we were in Oregon, we had a Christian station we helped up in Oregon, and I just felt, you know, all ideas, good ideas aren't God ideas.
Oh, better believe that.
So, but we were working on the street and working with a lot of street people.
Yes.
So I got this big vision. We're going to take this building, it was 100,000 square feet, we'll take it by faith, and we're going to build, and I had it all drawn out. I mean, this is my mind. It was all drawn out on paper. I drew it all out. We took it to the city to get permits. You know what the city said? You will never build that building here. And we said, why? God will do it. And then I said, who's this unrighteous Philistine? He'll stand in the way of the Lord. But our prayer was always, Lord, if this isn't you, stop us. That's how we always pray. If this isn't you, stop us. Well, they called the owner of the building. They said, if you allow them to do this, that we will not give you another building permit. And he was one of the big builders in that place. So we didn't do it. And just then a friend called from Louisiana and says, I need you to come back here and help me. Well, we turned our street ministry over to a church that we were working with, and we went back and helped, and it took us down our path. But see, you can always pray, if this is not your will, Lord, stop us. But at least head out.
Yes.
I have great visions. My visions never stop. And so I have to pray that way, because I could be down some primrose path, just like her.
Yeah, I have so many. Matter of fact, I tell people, I now have to tell my staff, this is what I want to do. I'm expecting you to come back and help me complete this. Because I'm still thinking, I mean, from my point of view, that's their job. You know, that's their job. I was listening to someone this morning, and they were talking about church, if you're on a church staff, that your job is, of course, first of all, to serve the Lord, but secondly, to serve the pastor.
Yes.
That's the job. That's your job. And so I'm always saying, okay, don't let me forget this. I really want to do this, because my mind goes such, I'm going over here. But it doesn't mean that I've forgotten this.
That one. Yeah.
It means I'm waiting for somebody to say, okay, I'm ready for it. Come now and do this. And through the years, this over here gets lost. And then, because people, it's hard if you got your own vision. It's hard to let go and take a vision of someone else. But God would not bring you there to work for that vision if you could not embrace it.
Yeah.
And that's what most people don't understand.
They don't get it.
You know, or it's the same kind of thing that, you know, talking about people say, I got to pray about it, got to pray about it. You know, come on station, got to pray about it, got to pray about it. It's in church. What I've noticed, you know, I've been pastoring this one church here 36 years almost. Well, maybe not 36 years. But the thing I've certainly learned along the way is that if it usually has to do with a title, they don't have to pray as much. I mean, I'm
That
not
is
being
very
catty.
good.
I'm not being catty.
very
I mean, I've
good.
watched it for years. I have watched it. You know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm in a position to have watched many
Things.
things
Yeah.
for many years.
Yeah.
But if it's, you know, we just need somebody. Could you head up the cleaning of this room, or could you? We need
Cleaning
somebody.
of
Yeah. Could we need somebody that can come in and just do this, or could you head up the prayer ministry, or? I mean, not really head it up, but would you come and maybe help with the prayer ministry, or would you come and do this? Well, I need to really pray about that, because it's not what they had. Now, I'm not against praying about it, because I say it myself. I got to pray these things.
Yeah.
You know, I
Pray things
don't
out.
jump things fast. Everybody
Right.
who knows me know I don't jump things very fast.
But that's not about witnessing.
No, it's not, and it's not about you know, trying. But it's very
It's about
interesting.
doing things, yeah.
Right. You know, we really could use somebody to answer the phone, and I know everybody can't answer phones. I know everybody, that's not their calling. I understand that. But surely it's more people's calling than we are seeing. I mean,
I know.
somebody has to
But
answer
you
the
remember
phone.
here we used to have 400 calls a night. One night you were here, we did.
Yeah, I remember.
And we had the phone partners, 12 phone partners back there every night.
Yeah.
We switched to days, and we have very few phone partners.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Now, I know a lot of people are working, and
Yeah,
I have
they
mercy
do.
and grace there, but I just feel like there's a lot of people sitting at home that could be doing something for the Lord.
And they fall into the trap that easily happens to everybody. Well, I've done my part, let somebody younger do it. And yet those who have been around a long time really have far more knowledge sometimes to answer the phone.
To answer the phone.
And they have more to give. And instead of seeing yourself as completed your task, no, pick up another task.
Yes.
And take what
Jesus
and
hasn't
go
come
with it.
yet.
Yeah. As long as we're breathing, there's something for us to be
Something to
doing. Yeah.
You know, being willing to serve is also important in really finding out what is your calling. Like in my own life, I was here for half a year in the US, and then it didn't work out with the visa. So I had to go back to the Netherlands and figure out what am I going to do with my life. I ended up in Germany. So I had to start from scratch. And so I was also in that place where I thought, like, well, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to get involved? What is my purpose here in Germany? And I met a pastor, and he said to me, just start serving, and God will show you. And that's
the
what I
key.
did.
Yeah,
And it
that's the
is,
key.
you know,
That's
you
the
just pick up
key.
something, you get involved, you start serving, and God will open doors.
And don't care what it is.
Yes.
Just
Yeah,
serve.
don't be picky.
When I gave my heart back to the Lord, I said, because I came out of ABC. I did television 48 years. And I said to him, now how are you going to use this? My television background. And then I found that while we were walking the cross around America, we were able to serve at many Christian stations. We'd go in, build sets, do whatever, help them, and with no money, just trust God.
Right.
But because we were able to do that, look what he did for us.
Right.
He
Right.
gave us our own place.
Yes.
Started less than $100, and look what God did. He's amazing.
Well, you know, I
He was.
came out of mental health and mental retardation. And I said, Lord, how are you going
You
to
were
use
mentally
that?
retarded. No.
No, I asked you,
I
how are you
know, I
going
was
to use that
teasing.
background?
Yeah.
And he said, you're going to pastor.
Yeah. And you need
You'll
that
get
for
it in a few
pastoring.
minutes. You need to know how to deal with people who are slow and mentally retarded and have mental health. The whole church body falls in that category.
Somewhere.
And in mental retardation, you try another way. Try another way. That's the key. Try another way. Try another way.
trying.
In the church, try another way.
Yes.
The whole New Testament, out of everybody's mouth, is presenting the gospel
Yes.
from
In a different
angle.
way, yeah.
From a different angle. So
But
somebody
still
would
with the
grab it.
same basic.
Same basic, but just maybe this person can. That's the whole concept of the healing center. And when you come to the healing center with all the different teachers, because somebody you think you would never get it from, they'll give this nugget,
Just
and it
what
will
you need.
change your life completely. Because everybody is giving the same word, but giving it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Ray's standing over there ready to sing, and before he does, don't forget, you can get this book. Now, we've been talking about it all morning, and if you'd like this book, it's for a love gift of $15. We'd love to have you have it, so go to your phone and make that call. Let's go to Ray, and we'll be right back.